Good morning. Hi, everyone. Great to see you, Luke. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this morning. I might sort of step back to when I finished year 11, because that's kind of where a lot of it started for me. I started this summer job at the local Just Jeans store, and I was so excited. And although I'd worked in the family business growing up, this for me was a real job in the fashion industry. And I've got to say, Luke, I loved it from the second I walked through the door.
What was it about it? What was it about it?
Everything. I love customers. I love the energy. I loved unpacking stock. I even loved taking the rubbish out. At the end of that summer break, the area manager came down to see me and she said to me, Cole, we'd really love you to stay on with the Just Jeans team. We think you've got potential. And what 16-year-old young girl wouldn't be excited about those words, right? So
Totally.
Here I was, adrenaline running home. We only lived a couple of blocks away, and I had to tell my parents that I was finishing school and I was going to go and sell jeans. As I did, I could see in both of their eyes the disappointment in that moment. And it was quite this sort of moment in life. You know, you have these moments where you just don't forget, and this was one of them. And my father said to me, work hard, love what you do, be passionate and never give up. And they're the words that have stuck with me my whole life. So I worked hard, I made budget, I sold the most Levi jeans, I won competitions. And at the age of 18, I was promoted to the youngest store manager in the company. At the age of 20, I was promoted to the youngest area manager. And then by the age of 24, I was running the state. That's where I spent my next 4 years, and which was fabulous until I got the phone call from Sportsgirl in 1999 saying, Cole, come and join us. And that's where I've spent the past 20 years of my working career. And as you know, Luke, 13 of those as CEO, 6 years at Suzanne and 7 at Sportsgirl. I love people. That's always been my secret weapon, you know, and the roles evolve, you know, even though I was in that role for 13 years, Suzanne was a very different business to Sportsgirl and at very different places in their journey. And I just loved people. I love creating these teams of incredible humans that could do amazing things.
The work ethic that you're just talking about is exactly what, like, I remember during my career, being in media, I felt like because I got my foot in the door, I kicked it open, and then I just took opportunity after opportunity. I was progressed through the ranks really quickly. I then found myself into a role that I didn't necessarily know that I ever wanted to be in. And I experienced what many of people out there experience is burnout in 2007.
2007 was a big year for both of us. And, you know, I was 36 years of age. I had 3 young children.
Right.
I'd been at Sportsgirl for 8 years. I was acting general manager. And I described myself as a red Ferrari. And a red Ferrari that had never stopped, never put petrol in the tank, never put air in the tires, never pulled into the pits. This red Ferrari knew no boundaries. It just kept going faster and faster and faster until I hit burnout. And so I went home this one night and I said to my husband, I'm done. And that's pretty much me. I'm very black or white with the way I live my life. And so I went in the next day to resign, and lucky for me, I got talked out of that idea. And instead I took 4 months off, and it really taught me to live my life differently. I set boundaries. I learned to say no. I had to build in self-care. And what I realized was that I had to be good to myself before I could be good to anyone else. And then went on to be a CEO for 13 years and lived a life without burnout.
What were some of the things that you've learned through people like Shanna? Because I think when you say red Ferrari, you also think that you're indestructible, and sometimes you don't lean upon others to be able to get the resources or be able to share thoughts, etc. How important is it to have that person with you?
You know, I think for me, getting a coach was a big moment. And as you know, she's an incredible human. And for me, I think the biggest thing was I had to start by putting the work in on knowing who I was at that time. As I said, I was 36 years of age, and I knew I was a career woman. I knew I was a mother, a sister, a wife, an auntie. I knew all of those titles, but I actually didn't really know who I was. And so I think that was one of the really big parts of that journey, is really pulling back all of those layers and figuring out who was Cole without all of those hats that she was wearing.
Your book, Leader by Design, and I love the title, by the way, and I'll explain why I love the title very shortly. It has so much good information in it for both individuals and businesses, but what does it mean? Can you actually design yourself to be a leader?
I really believe, Luke, we all have the ability to become leaders by design. You can become the leader you always wanted to be. You can become the leader that you wanted to have. and you can become a leader people choose to follow.
I love the tagline, be empowered to lead with confidence in business and in life. How important is confidence, but how do we get the confidence?
Confidence is one of the biggest things. Well, it is one of the biggest things I work with people on today. And, when we have this real confidence, and when I talk about real confidence, I don't mean the fake it till you make it stuff.
Yeah.
It's this real confidence. What happens is we embrace opportunities. We say yes or no. We start that side hustle that we wanted to start. We feel confident to put our hand up for that promotion or maybe ask for that pay rise. And it certainly gives us the ability to step out of our comfort zone and go beyond where we think we can go. When we live with real confidence, it allows us to really go for those goals and dreams and live this life of purpose and love and fulfillment and success and accomplishment. And I say to everyone I work with that confidence starts with self. Don't go anywhere else looking for it. It absolutely has to start with you. I think we have a serious lack of great leadership in this country. I'm sad to say. I really do. And I think part of my journey now is to change that. But I think too many leaders, Luke, think about leadership as leading others. And I think there's 3 strong rules to leadership. One is lead self, lead others, and lead always. They're the 3 absolute musts. 70% of great leadership is about leading ourselves. How well do we know ourselves, our value, our purpose? How well do we build structures and disciplines into our own lives? How do we set goals in our own lives? How do we maintain positivity in the face of negativity? Leadership has to start with us. And I think that's where so many leaders go wrong, is they think it's about everyone else.
Is there any other sort of tips or advice that you might have to support leaders as they start to plan next year around how do they hold on to connection no matter where people are?
Create that environment where people feel inspired, empowered, connected, and where they feel bigger than just the seat they sit in. That's where the magic starts to happen. When people get up and come to your organization and feel connected and feel like they can contribute in a much more meaningful way than just tapping out some spreadsheets, that's where you get the real magic.
Let's talk about kindness, though, because I think this is a very interesting topic because you don't necessarily, well, some of the leaders that I've had, I don't know if I'd classify them as kindness, but you speak about the power of kindness. How is this a potential superpower for a leader?
It's not the first word that comes to mind when we think about great leadership, right? And I absolutely challenge that thought. And I believe kindness is what will separate good leaders from great leaders of the future. I talk about it as a new currency and one that you can trade for loyalty and commitment and high performance. And, but kindness starts at the top as well. It's the way it's one of my values, and it's the way I've lived my life for a very long time. When we understand and value our people and we show kindness in the way we lead, what happens is we have happier, more motivated, more collaborative, and more productive teams. And, I talk about kindness being the greatest gift you can give another human being.
In the book, you give some great exercises for people to be able to help become a kind leader.
Yeah, I think one of the things I would say is to think about maybe the words that you use, or maybe the words that you could use to encourage people around you. And that doesn't just need to be in the work situation. That can be in your personal life. It can be anywhere you like. It's really important that we encourage those around us to have these positive discussions and changes and connections with each other. I've got so many things on. I run a Mentor Me Women program and Mentor Me program for organizations. I do a little bit of one-on-one coaching. I love sharing my book, and I'm very excited. We were talking before, as the world opens up, we can get back on stage and back into events and all of those kind of things. I think 2022 is going to be a fabulous year and for everyone. I think, we've done the hard yards, and I think 2022 is shaping up to be super duper exciting. I'm going to say 3 things. One is believe in yourself. There are going to be people around you that will tell you your dreams are too big, your goals are too crazy, someone else has done it before you, you're going to fail. Believe in yourself. You can do and be anything you put your mind to. So that's number 1. The second one is don't try and be perfect. Perfection doesn't exist. In fact, it leads to burnout. So don't try and be perfect. Strive for excellence. That's super important, but don't try and strive for perfection. And the third one is be kind. It costs nothing.